Capital Commentary.
Hi, I'm Ashley Wegeson from Junior Marauder Media, and I'm here with Representative Roy Takumi. Representative Takumi, do you have some good news to share for the people in our community?
Well, good news. One good news is the rail project is almost completed throughout Waipahu, and so some of the disruption that the community experienced should be less. There still will be because it's not totally finished.
And what are your hopes for our community this year?
Well, the hopes for the community really doesn't vary across the state. You know, every community cares about education. They care about the environment. They care about the economy. And so we're the state legislature, so we deal with issues that affect the whole state. So the issues that affect the community in Waipahu are very similar.
Do you have any last messages for the people in our community?
Yeah, I would like to say that anybody who wants to share their perspective or their concerns with us, feel free to always call us or email us. We're readily available. We respond to your concerns. And that's really the only way that we know what you're thinking, what's best for you and your family.
I'm Ashley Wegeson from Junior Marauder Media, reporting from the state capitol.
Hi, I'm with Uncle Hercules. What brings you to the Capitol today?
Like every year, this time we come to the Capitol on legislative opening to take lay to every single senator and every single representative from the kids of Waipahu and Ever Beach. Because they make these lays with their hands, the mana is passed on to our senators and representatives. Representing Wheaton Seat Hawaii today, we're asking them to look for the bill introduced by Senator Holt and Representative Rhodes. So that's why I'm here today, and to enjoy the festivities and to be Kanaka, right? Hawaii.
Hi, I'm Flora Thompson from Junior Marauder Media, here with Representative Bob McDermott. Representative McDermott, how is it being one of very few Republican representatives?
Well, thank you for having me, Flora. I'll tell you what, you can call me Uncle Bob, make it easier for you, okay? How is it to be one of five? It's a real blessing to have this opportunity to serve the people of Hawaii, whether you're Republican or Democrat. Coming to serve the people, work for them, and try and provide solutions to problems is the most important thing we do. That partisan stuff is really not a big concern to me. We're not the mainland where they fight like cats and dogs. We're more Ohana. We try and work together.
Thank you. What do you hope to accomplish in this legislative session?
So my area is Eva Beach. So we have the largest high school in the state. And so we're trying to get money for the facilities, athletic complex, and then that trickles on down to the intermediate school, Ilima Intermediate, trying to upgrade their facilities. So students like you have nice, clean, new classrooms and athletic facilities and a girls' locker room. So that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Representative McDermott. Do you have any last words for the community?
I love Olelo. Thanks, Olelo, for coming out there. I used to have a show on Olelo 100 pounds ago. I don't go by years. I measure it in pounds. You didn't get that. That's okay. But you did a great job. And thank you for coming, Flora.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashley Wegeson from Junior Marauder Media, and I'm here with Senator Michelle Kidani. Senator Kidani, would you like to tell me about the Grow Your Own program?
Oh, thanks for asking. Yes, we know that we have a shortage of teachers. It's not just here in Hawaii, it's nationwide. So this was an attempt to get our substitute teachers and our educational assistants who have their bachelor's degree already to get them certified as teachers. So we put aside money and we're working with the College of Education to do cohort classes so the teachers can continue to stay in the classrooms and teach, but they will be going to school online, and in 3 semesters they will be graduating. And then we have the first class graduating this fall.
Aloha, I'm Rachel Ross with Junior Marauder Media, and I'm here today with Representative Takayama. Representative Takayama, I know overcrowded prisons are a problem, but what is being done for youth and young adults with disadvantaged backgrounds, so with the likelihood of a life of crime, but how can we prevent the school to prison pipeline?
Well, it's sad to see in our prisons and jails in Hawaii, oftentimes generations of the same family come through the prisons, and I think a primary reason for that is very often drugs. There are people who tell me that about 80 to 90% of the people who are doing time in prison do so because of substance abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, that causes them to fall into a life of crime. And oftentimes, the great majority of them don't have an adequate education. They're very oftentimes dropouts from high school or even lower. And so what tends to happen is that they fall into a life of crime, and influenced by their families or their communities. And I think one of the important things we need to do a better job of is treating them for drug abuse in our prisons. It would be even better if we could do a better job of drug education in our schools before people get into trouble. Because frankly, when you get into prison, it's too late to recover all the lost time, the criminal background will be on your background sheets forever. And it's hard to turn your life around. Some people do, but very oftentimes, it's difficult to turn your life around. My advice to students in our schools is to make the most of your education while you can. There are temptations out there, drugs and crime and everything else, but I think fall back on your families, fall back on your friends, fall back on your community resources to do the right thing.
So for the people that's already in prison, if they can get back into lives, what is being done in the prisons to prevent them for when they get released, they don't come back to prevent recidivism?
I think the best thing our prisons can do to prepare people to lead productive lives when they get out of prison is to train them in jobs that they can be successful at when they get out of our institutions. For example, in our prisons, we offer cooking classes, we offer agricultural farm classes, we offer classes in auto mechanics and carpentry and basic skills like that hopefully lead them into jobs like that when they get out. Primarily, the most popular program is cooking, because there's a great demand for cooks at all levels, because we have a large tourist industry here in Hawaii. There's a big demand all the time for people to work in our kitchens and in our restaurants and fast food places. So that's the best thing that our institutions can do is train our inmates to be successful and be able to live independently and law-abiding jobs when they get out.
Hi, I'm Ashley Legeson from Junior Marauder Media, and I'm here with Representative Rida Cabanilla. Representative Cabanilla, what brought you back to the office?
Well, I believe that the 10 years that I have served previously, I brought forth meaningful legislation that is still in effect today. And also I was able to address the needs of the community, and I did not only brought representation to the district, but also able to provide leadership in the House of Representatives itself.
What's the hardest part about being a representative?
I think that the needs of the community are varied, and the opinions are also sometimes interlocking or opposite each other, and to be able to hear on both sides and see it in their eyes and then come up with a compromise on both sides.
Any last messages for the people in our community?
Well, I want them to know that my office will always be open for them, that I will try to see things the way they see them and be able to walk their shoes and come up with a solution or a compromise to represent those needs or opinions or whatever it is that they want addressed. I may not always agree with them, but I'm willing to listen what is good and bad in every aspect there is and be able to come to a conclusion of what's best for the people of Hawaii in its entirety.
Thank you, Representative Rida Cabanilla. I'm Ashley Wegeson from Junior Marauder Media reporting from the state capitol.
My question for you today is, what are your plans for 2019?
Well, Rachel, thank you. It's glad to be here with you. I chair the Agriculture Environment Committee, and so one of the things, my top priority is to utilize more local foods, increase our local food production and consumption here. We spend $3 billion every year importing 90% of our food. So actually one of the main missions I have in life now is recruiting young farmers. Would you like to be a farmer? Don't want to put you on the spot. But there's over 800,000 acres of available ag land, and so it's not a question of not enough land. The reality is the average age of farmers in Hawaii is 64. So that's why we need young people to, or anyone really, to start thinking about farming and start providing our food locally. So that's number one. And then the part of that, though, is recently the president signed a bill, the Farm Bill, the 2018 Farm Bill, which removes industrial hemp from the controlled substance list. And so now this is called hempcrete instead of concrete. And there's a guy, a former NBA coach on Maui, he built his home out of hempcrete, taking the stalks of the plant, the hemp plant, mixing it with lye and water. And the neat thing about it is it breathes, it's anti-mildew, and so there's 25,000 different products. And if you take a look here, my briefcase here is made out of hemp. And then I've got just a few of the samples of all kinds of different hemp products here. And so my vision, when I introduced 4 bills that passed starting in 2014, is a cottage industry here in Hawaii using hemp and Hawaiian hemp shampoo, Hawaiian hemp granola. I have a couple of Aloha shirts that are made out of hemp, and using the Hawaii branding so that Hawaii becomes the hemp capital of the planet. And we have a wonderful growing season here with 3 harvests, and so I'm hopeful that that will happen. My second priority is single-use plastics. We use too many plastic straws, for example. So I've introduced a bill that's going to ban the use of plastic straws. A lot of folks out there don't know that in the U.S., 500 million plastic straws are used every single day. And that's crazy because it affects our marine life. It gets out there, you know, the fish and the turtles are eating this stuff and it's killing them. And so here's a solution. One solution that I use, stainless steel straw, right? And you got a little cleaner brush right here. You just clean it out, right? Then there it is. I carry it around anytime I'm going to a restaurant or anything. I got my straw here. And I also, just decreasing the use of plastic, right? And I carry this as well. There's my chopsticks, right? Just carry that around so I don't have to use plastic. 60 Minutes recently did a incredible special on the use of plastics and how it's harming our environment. So all of us really need to start thinking about, we live in paradise, so we need to think about protecting our paradise, right? So those are the 2 major issues that I'm working on.
So how do you plan to incorporate the use of plastic? How do you plan to ban the use of plastic?
Well,
besides straws?
you know, there's a whole bunch of restaurants that are already banned. You know, that and polystyrene styrene containers. I've got another bill that would have restaurants and others use compostable takeout containers instead of polystyrene. That's another harmful to our environment. So that's, you pass it, and then you give restaurants or whatever people time to get rid of their stock, and then other cities and other states are doing this now. Other countries are doing this now, and it's time for Hawaii to lead the way and set a good example.
This is Rachel Ross reporting from the Capitol. Do you have any last words?
Well, I would just like to encourage your viewers to get involved in the process. Our session starts the third Wednesday of every January and goes until the first week in May, and there's over 3,000 bills that are introduced, and usually about 200 pass into law. But it's not just the 76 legislators that are important in a democracy. Every single person who can vote is important. And it's important because we need to hear the input from people out there, your parents, your aunties and uncles, your grandparents, on ideas on how we can improve our living conditions here in Paradise. So I would just encourage everyone to please get involved in the process. Not only vote, but find out which the bills that they're interested in are being introduced, come down and testify if you're in favor of it or you're opposed to it, and get involved in the process.
Hello, I'm Flora Thompson from Junior Marauder Media, here with Representative Ty Cullen. Representative Cullen, what are some issues you hope to resolve in your community this year?
Well, as we continue to address our educational infrastructure yearly, it will be, honor to represent our community so that we can continue to address our educational structures within our district. And District 39, as you can see behind me, spans not only in Waipahu, but it goes into Kapolei, Honouliuli, areas of Makakilo. So trying to address educational infrastructure to ensure that we can address the capacity is what we are trying to focus on. So what we've done is that for WAIPAHU High School, we provided funding for a new building. You also see a new building at Honowai Elementary coming up. And these are funding that's, one is that for the new building is over $35 million at WAIPAHU High School. And we have at Honowai, it's over $15 million for the building. We are continuing to work on new buildings throughout Waipahu District. We already had new buildings added to August Arns Elementary, Waipahu Elementary, and we had planning and design money for the building at Waipahu Intermediate. I know we just met with Principal Dunn over the summer last year, and we want to work on trying to get that construction money for the building at the intermediate school. It's important because it's hard to share not just resources with the other 50 representatives, because there are 51 of us, but then you have the 25 senators that we all come in here striving to address different issues in our district. And I really feel that us improving and growing our educational infrastructure so that we can help grow the talents in the community with the students and the families. One of the other areas we just ground broke is out in Kapolei, East Kapolei Middle School. $77 million project. So that ground broke last summer. And educational infrastructure doesn't just stop at the intermediate or the elementary school level. We just opened a new Allied Health Center building at Kapolei, at University of West Oahu. And we just ground broke on the Creative Media Center. So that's a $39 million plus project. And what are we doing here? We're doing some form of creative media, which is great. So I hope that with early college, you'll go through the high school, and with the MOA that Waipahu High School has with UH West Oahu, we can get your degree in creative media. And by that time, they said 18 months is construction, so you'd be at UH West Oahu in that new building. So when we continue to work on educational infrastructure development, that's where we really want to focus on. And we'll, from my office, that's one of the top priorities that we always work on for our community, because you can see it, you can touch it. It's taxpayer dollars working for the future generations.
Thank you, Representative Cullen. Is there any last words you'd like to say to your community?
Well, I want to thank the community for continuing to support me. Without their support, I wouldn't be able to get elected. As it's always an honor to be in the state capitol, fighting for our district, fighting for the next generations, so we can cultivate the talent such as yourself, and that is from deep down in my heart. I want to say thank you to District 39, which spans from Waipahu all the way out to Makakilokapule area. Thank you so much.
This is Flora Thompson reporting from the Capitol.
My question for you is, why did you enroll into politics?
Well, I had a high school teacher. Her name was Carol Mrs. Yamada. She told me when I was in high school I was going to be two things, a comedian or a politician. But more so, joking aside, was my dad and my mom. Listening to my dad talk about taxes and increasing and, just not having the way of living, yeah. He retired about maybe 15, 20 years ago. His retirement today is not what it's all supposed to be. So I'm looking forward to trying to make some changes in tax cuts for our seniors, and most especially to provide good schools for our community and our kids. You know what I mean? That's the reason why I did it. Main thing, because Eva Beach, just a voice for Eva Beach, bottom line. And my dad represents Eva Beach. So we're all here together as one Ohana.
So the schools in Eva Beach, would you say they could use improvement?
All of our schools need improvements. Right? The new schools, even if the new schools are online, they all need improvements. Iroquois Point, Kioniula, Eva Makai, even though they're having their new wing. Eva Beach Elementary, Ilima is falling apart. Ilima is one of our oldest, and I guess middle schools they're calling it now. But those schools really need help. In our district, it's just lack of infrastructure, and it's nobody's fault. I tell everybody that I blame nobody. So today the buck stops with me to get things for my community, give the voice back to Eva Beach, and we're going to work day by day, working with my other senator colleagues to get better things for not just for Eva Beach, but for the state of Hawaii.
Do you have any last words?
Well, I just wanted to thank the Eva Beach community. Thank you for voting me in as your senator and letting me be your voice. And we're going to work hard every day, me and my staff and my family, to continue to do good works for the community of Eva Beach and the state of Hawaii. Thank you.
I'm Rachel Ross, reporting from the state capitol. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Senator Clarence Nishihara, what's your plans for the upcoming session?
Well, for the Committee on Public Safety and Military Affairs, we've been having meetings earlier with that two House concurrent resolutions. There are task forces. One is Task Force 85, and the other one is Task Force 134. And they address different things that we think in the criminal justice system there needs to be made some changes to.
Any last messages for the people in our community?
Well, unless we can do a better job of how we will handle people who are coming out of prison, we got to make sure that we have programs within prison to make them more capable of keeping out of trouble and also to get employed. So we got to look at treatment as well as not only treatment, but also looking at issues of homelessness, which is a problem with them as well. So there are a bunch of issues that we'll be trying to address under public safety.
Thank you, Senator Nishihara. I'm Ashley Wegeson from Junior Marauder Media, reporting from the state capitol.
Aloha, I'm Rachel Ross with Junior Marauder Media, and I'm here with Representative Ryan Yamane. My question for you today is, what is your plans for 2019?
Oh, thank you first. Before I begin with that, I want to say thank you to Olelo for the great programming that they do, as well as getting young people, students like yourselves, involved. I think that's a great thing, and it benefits the community. So your question about what the plans are for 2019, as Water, Land, and Hawaiian Affairs Committee Chair, we want to actually look forward. We want to make sure that we protect our aina, push issues that promote sustainability, and also look at innovative ways to make sure that our future generation, students like yourselves, learn about the value of things like recycling, sustainability, so that way that it becomes part of who you are, so that way your next generation, you can pass that knowledge on.
How do you plan to use the natural resources that Hawaii has in the future?
Well, I've always believed that water is very important. It's, to me, the lifeblood of the land, yeah. And so what we're going to try to look at in the coming year is how do we use water, make sure we don't waste it, every drop. So not only using it for drinking and also to going to the bathroom, but things like how we use it to grow food sustainability, how we use it in energy. And so that way we can make sure that that valuable resources is there for your generation. Now, Rachel, I have a question for you. Okay, so as a young person, what does sustainability mean to you?
Sustainability means that you must maintain like stable like life, or like you just remain stable, like you always have everything you need, even though, but you just have to work with what you got and just be like
Balance?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, good. And you know, that's a perfect way. That's a perfect definition of sustainability, because as a policymaker, that's what I would like to give you for your future, where wherever direction your life goes, either if it's going to be a teacher or a businesswoman or president of the United States, that you know Hawaii is a place of balance. Is that cool? Great answer. Not that easy, to answer a question on the spot. I'm sorry, hold on. Okay.
Thank you for your time. Do you have any last words?
No, again, I would like to thank everybody, the watchers out there. You know, Olelo provides great opportunities for our young people. I think it's a great lesson and education opportunities, as well as you guys get to come out and visit people like us. And so, again, I commend you guys, continue to come out, and also to commend you, too, for being active, being visible, and taking on this role of trying to help share what we are and who you are. And I'm sorry I put you on the spot, but one of the things I think is always great is that when I look into young people's eyes like yours, you are what make what we do here at the Capitol important, because you are truly our future. So thank you, and thank you, viewers out there.
Hi, I'm Ashley Wilkinson from Junior Marauder Media, and I'm here with Senator Breene Harimoto. Senator Harimoto, what problems does your district face?
Well, I think most communities around the state have similar problems. There's homelessness, there's lack of affordable housing, there's transportation, there's crime. It's all pervasive all over. But I think what I try to focus on is some of those things really hit home. And to me, one of the top issues is housing, or the lack thereof. Affordable housing is really a big problem everywhere. So, it leads to multiple generations having to live together, like my family. A lot of it leads to homelessness. We have homeless people because a lot of times they just can't make it. They work, but they can't make it. So, it's similar all over.
How do you hope to resolve those issues?
Well, if it were easy, it would have been solved already. So, it's a real tough issue with homelessness and the lack of affordable housing. And, we need to chip away slowly, but we always need to know what that end game is. what that plan is. So one of the things that I've always focused on was, with the rail that's coming through, around each rail station is what we call transit-oriented development. And what we're trying to do is to concentrate dense developments around the rail stations. And that works all across the world. It just naturally happens. So we have to have policies in place that encourage developers to put affordable housing where we really need it, which is around the rail stations. So that's the primary focus. One of the other issues that I'm really trying to work on right now is, we've had a record number of pedestrian fatalities last year. So traffic safety is something I'm really trying to work on this year. So we have a couple bills being put in to address that.
Any last messages for the people in our community?
Yeah, we talk about problems all the time, which, your question was, what issues we face. But, I always say on the reverse side, that we're so blessed to live in Hawaii. And despite all of the issues and problems, we need to count our blessings. When we wake up in the morning, for me, I thank God, it's another day, and what good can we do? And I think that's what we want to focus on, the positives. What can we do working together?
Thank you, Senator Breene Harimoto. I'm Ashley Wegeson from Junior Marauder Media reporting from the state capitol.